In the quiet suburb of Pine Haven where the wild brushes against the edge of the civilized an unspoken balance held firm. But when nature's laws are tested, survival becomes a desperate gamble. Marissa Cole had always been a quiet guardiana, hospice nurse by profession, but a soul drawn to the stray and forgotten. Over the years, countless animals had found their way to the border of her modest home. But nothing prepared her for the arrival of Willow, a pregnant bobcat, with cautious eyes and silent strength, carried more than her own fragile life. Within her nature, however, is not always gentle. In the shadows of the towering pines lurked a danger foreign to these woods, a silent predator. It's invisible until it strikes. It was a massive Burmese python, a menace likely released by an irresponsible exotic pet owner, and it had grown to thrive on the edge of human encroachment. For days it had been watching, waiting, then came the moment that changed everything. The sun dipped low over Pine Haven, casting long amber streaks across the sidewalks and rooftops. Marissa's modest ranch-style home stood nestled between wild forest and neatly trimmed lawns, a sanctuary where her compassion met the wilderness. Her neighbors often joked that she ran a one-woman wildlife rescue from her backyard. Each morning before her hospital shift, she left food and water for every stray that visited, both domestic and wild. That's when she first saw Willow, with tawny furs spotted in black and a belly heavy with life. The bobcat moved with a wild grace, hovering at the edge of Marissa's world. She never approached. She didn't need to. Mutual respect between them was enough. Marissa began leaving out small portions of raw chicken at the forest's edge. "You're safe here." "Sweet girl," she whispered from her porch each morning. "Just keep your distance, and we'll get along just fine." Across the street lived Reed Walker, a 45-year-old former military pilot who now taught aviation simulations from the shadows of his own grief. He had lost his teenage son Caleb 2 years ago in a car crash, a loss that shattered his marriage and sealed him into isolation. His only companion was Shadow, Caleb's German shepherd. Reed noticed the bobcat too, but not with wonder. His gaze was sharp, wary. Years of training had taught him one thing: wild animals meant risk. "Stay back, Shadow," he warned quietly during early morning walks. The dog, well-trained and loyal, obeyed with tense awareness as March wore on. Willow's visits became more frequent, her movements slower. Marissa knew the signs. Birth was near. "She's staying closer," Marissa told her colleague, Rachel. "During a lunch break, she shouldn't be. Not this close to humans." "Maybe she feels safe with you," Rachel replied. "Animals know more than we give them credit for." But even Willow's instincts couldn't have prepared her for what came next. It was a warm Saturday afternoon. Marissa had just come home from a long shift when she heard the sound of rustling leaves and a sharp, desperate yowl. She dropped her bag and ran. What she saw froze her in place. The python, over 14 feet long, had coiled itself around Willow. The bobcat was fighting, clawing, gasping for air, but she was pregnant, and her strength was fading. Marissa's scream pierced. "The air? No, God, no." From across the street, Shadow barked violently, his instincts flaring. Reed looked up from his computer, alarmed. In an instant, his years of training returned. He saw Shadow's posture and knew this wasn't just noise. His phone rang. Marissa's name flashed on the screen. "Reed, I need help." Got the bobcat. It was all he needed to hear. Gloves, boots, focus. Reed sprinted across the street, Shadow at his side. The sight hit him like a bullet. Willow trapped in crushing coils, Marissa helpless, crying, frozen in fear. "Max, stay," he ordered, eyes scanning the ground. He found a broken pine branch strong, 4 feet long, and grabbed it like a weapon. "Marissa, when I say go pull her legs, can you do that?" She nodded, eyes wide but determined. Shadow bark. The dog obeyed, unleashing a fury of sound. The python, startled, loosened its grip for a split second. Reed jammed the branch into the coils, wedging them apart with every ounce of strength. Now, Marissa lunged, pulling Willow's front legs. With a final thrash, the bobcat slipped free and collapsed. The snake, realizing it had lost its meal, hissed and slithered back into the woods. Willow lay on her side, panting heavily. She made no attempt to flee. "She's in shock," Marissa whispered, crouching beside her. "And she's close to giving birth." "My garage is insulated," Reed said, breathless. "We can set up something safe for her. I'll help." And so, the soldier and the nurse became rescuers. They called Dr. Elena Ruiz, a wildlife vet Marissa knew. Within an hour, she arrived and examined Willow carefully. "She's lucky," Dr. Ruiz said, "but the stress has triggered early labor. We can't move her now. We'll have to set up here." Reed's garage became a maternity ward, overnight soft blankets, privacy screens, and a baby monitor with a camera. That evening, as the sky turned deep orange, Reed and Marissa sat on his porch, side by side, watching the forest that had brought them together. "I never thought I'd use my combat training in suburban Florida," Reed said with a quiet smile. "And I never thought I'd be midwifing a bobcat," Marissa replied. By morning, Willow had given birth to 5 healthy kittens. Each one was celebrated like a miracle. They called the boldest Scout, the smallest Pip, the quietest Sage, and the 2 sisters, Luna and Star. Over the next few weeks, Reed and Marissa fell into a rhythm, feeding, monitoring, caring. The kittens grew stronger. Reed shared stories of Caleb for the first time. Marissa opened up about losing her mother to cancer. Shadow became a silent guardian, never barking, always watching. When the time came, Dr. Ruiz arranged their release at a protected preserve 50 miles north. The final goodbye was both joyful and bittersweet. One by one, the kittens bounded into the wild. Willow was the last to leave. She looked back just once before disappearing into the trees. Back in Pine Haven, life shifted. Reed's lawn bloomed. Again, Marissa had help now building shelters for neighborhood wildlife. Shadow walked with the new spring in his step. And on their shelf, beside a photo of Caleb with Shadow as a pup, sat the baby monitor, forever silent, forever meaningful. Every now and then, they would return to the edge of the forest. Sometimes, just sometimes, they'd spot a bobcat. In the distance, maybe not Willow, but maybe. This is not just a story of survival. It's a story of hope, of healing, and of the wild courage it takes to trust again. Subscribe to Pawthos, where the wild meets the heart, and love always finds its way home.